Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome into the Anno tutorial series where I take save files that you've sent me that you need a little bit of help on. I'll take a look for things that you might be doing wrong that need to be fixed, help you understand how to identify those mistakes, ways to fix them, and where you can go from there. If you'd like me to take a look at your save file, join my Discord server, the link is down below, and get in touch with me. Your save could help someone else with the same problems learn a little bit more about the game. Alright, so today's save file comes from a brand new player. This is his first attempt at Anno 1800, and luckily he's actually done not too bad. He has reached engineers. He's got 20,000 out of balance and 2.8 million in the bank. So you know what? Not bad at all. But there are several issues I have seen that he has not noticed that I think is going to hurt him in the long run. And we're going to go through, talk about those problems, show him how to fix these, and where he can go from here. So first thing I wanted to take a look at was diplomacy. I can tell just by looking at the colors on the map that he is playing a standard normal difficulty. I see Beryl O'Mara, I see Princess Ching, and I see Willie on the map right here. So let's take a look and see what's happening with diplomacy. So he does have trade rights with Willie and Princess Ching. Perfectly great. He's also signed non-aggression pacts with them, which is honestly a really fun little thing. Every time you sign a non-aggression pact, you get 10 reputation. So this is a good way to boost your reputation. He is at peace with Jean Le Fortune and Anne Harlow and Beryl O'Mara, but only with 40 reputation. If we take a look at the history, we can see that he has been buying shares. That is a no-no. I know. Some people are going to say, oh, buying shares keeps my economy afloat and it's a really good way to make money. It is, but it costs a lot of influence. And you need to be able to support your own economy without investing shares, without investing influence into shares and messing up your reputation. So what I want to do is this. Let's go find where he has bought shares at. Here's where he has bought the shares. So we're just going to sell all of this. We're going to sell those to the queen. Get us some money back. There we go. Okay, we've sold those to the queen. We got us some money, and we got a bunch of influence back. One of the problems he was saying he was having was that he didn't have enough influence. So we have fixed that right there. Now, do we have any more share income? We do. Let's find out where that's at. Okay, if we take a look right here, he has a share at Heavenly Gate. We're going to go ahead and sell that. There. Now we have 97 influence to play with. And our income is more realistic now. This is our true income, not including having to spend, what was that? Almost 60 influence on shares. So if you're running low on influence, but you bought a lot of shares, just sell the shares to the queen, get you some cash, get your influence back. We're going to fix this economy without relying on all of that. But first, we do need to make sure she does not declare war on us. Now, unfortunately, he is at only 38 reputation with Beryl O'Mara. He did have a quest, but really unlucky for him. It's the none of your business quest that you sometimes get from Beryl to deliver some shady goods to one of her ships. And you can't complete the quest. It's been bugged out for a long time. So unfortunately, he did lose out some more reputation on that. I did give her 50,000 as a gift to help her out a little bit, and that got me from 36 to 38. But I'm going to, you have to watch this. Never buy shares, especially from someone like Beryl O'Mara. She is way too easy to upset and everything, so you do not want to do that. Buy shares from someone like Ching or Willie. It's they're a lot more forgiving about buying shares and everything. Beryl is a no. Don't do that. So that's the first big mistake right there. But that's okay. We are going to take a look at this and kind of fix everything else that I've seen. So we're going to start here on the island of Newbie and everything and see what's happening right here. Now, if we go underneath their production is decent. We're actually overproducing quite a few things that could be shut down. Fisheries, wool, work clothes. Underproducing, though, on the clay. You don't ever want to underproduce if at all possible. You want to make sure you are always meeting that demand. I bet one reason we are underproducing that is because he probably has lifestyle needs for it. No, artisans, that's who it is. Artisans, yeah, he does have lifestyle needs turned on for the artisans. We're going to go ahead and just cut that off at the moment for the time being. We're just going to cut that off for right now. That way it just stabilizes everything. So we'll fix that. He is underproducing sausages though, flour, iron ore, and that's all he's currently underproducing. So he's only underproducing a few things on Nickelby, so it's not bad. In terms of population, though, he does have a lot of extra workforce, a lot of extra farmers and workers and artisans that he could be upgrading to later tiers in order to get even more income out of them to fix some of that. But that's just kind of the situation on Nickelby right now. It's not bad, but it could use a little bit of work right there. So let's take a look at his other residential islands. He has a little village right here, Kazaks, I don't know, Kaz. We're going to call it Kaz. This little village right here of Kaz where he was making, it looks like, red pepper, beef, and some schnapps over here with just a very small farmer population. We take a look right here, though. He is overproducing on fish considerably right there, overproducing on the schnapps a little bit. He's okay on the work clothes. My suggestion on this island is don't overbuild until you need it. He's already built up 2 schnapps and the 2 fish, but he doesn't actually need all of that. So what you could do is turn some of these right here off or expand the population to eat up that extra production. One of the two. Either turn off a fishery and a schnapps distillery until you need the extra production, or build more houses to eat up that production. Otherwise, it's just wasted maintenance. The third island we're going to take a look at is this island here of Skarsbag. This island right here, he's got a whole lot of mature shrubbery for some reason. A lot of pig farms. Lots and lots of pig farms right here because he's producing a bunch of extra soap right here, and he is selling that soap over to Eli for extra cash and everything. So he is using the soap trick to make money. Which is perfectly fine if that's how you want to make money. He also has his beer production up here, and he's got some blueprinted up here as well. We take a look here. He is slightly underproducing on the wood. He's okay on the fish. He does have a demand of 8 schnapps right here, even though he's not consuming any. I believe he's actually bringing that in from another island, which is something we are going to take a look at. Yeah, but he doesn't actually even have any in storage right now. He only has 3. He has a demand for work clothes, but he's not producing any on this island. Other than that, everything else looks pretty good on this island. And the last island we're going to take a look at is Prattlewell right here. Down here, he's also making some schnapps, and he's got some work clothes being produced down here. So that's kind of the situation on his islands and what's going on in the old world. Now, the first thing I noticed after I took a look at everything and I took a look at the productions was I saw that he was not producing some stuff on islands that he could be producing it on. Things like the work clothes. He's not producing work clothes up here, even though he does have a demand for work clothes. That means he's bringing those in from somewhere else. That is what I would say is a big mistake. Work clothes don't have any fertility requirements. That's an easy local production. So there's no need whatsoever in producing those somewhere else and bringing them over. You could just produce those locally. He doesn't have a production-only island, even though he's wanting to transition to one of those at some point. He doesn't have one right now, so it's actually better just to go ahead and produce that kind of stuff locally. I also noticed schnapps kind of scattered around. He's got a bunch of schnapps being produced down here, an extra 6 on this island, an extra 2 on this island. And he's not producing any schnapps on Nickelby right there. So he's kind of got he's got a lot of demand for schnapps, but he's not producing any of it where he needs it to be. So let's take a look at his trade routes and what's happening and what I'm seeing with the trade routes. So these are his trade routes, and this is where I instantly saw all of the issues and I could see where everything could be fixed. So starting from the top right here, this trade route right here, he is bringing over beef, red peppers, and 75 tons of iron from Kaz to Nickelby, okay? The thing is he still has an extra iron deposit on Nickelby that has not been utilized. If we take a look at the demand for iron, it's not that much more of a demand for iron right there. All he needs to do is build another iron mine right there. He doesn't need to be transporting that over from one island to another. You have the resources on the island. Go ahead and utilize all your available resources before you start trying to bring stuff in like that. So that is the first thing I noticed on that trade route right there. That could be adjusted a little bit. The next trade route that I saw problems with is this one right here. This trade route from Nickelby to Skarsbag right here. Now he is bringing over 15 tons of work clothes, 5 tons of bricks, and 8 tons of bread. And then he's picking up beer and dropping that off. Now, this right here, I don't like doing this where I'm, taking tiny amounts and stuff. That's because we have the ability to do this. We have those minimum stocks, and as you can see, he already has minimum stocks available over here on the island. He's already set that. So there is no need really to have all these extra little bits right here. Now, the reason he does have that though is because he's still bringing work clothes from other places. This is where I'm saying that work clothes, especially something like work clothes, sausages, those can be produced locally on your little islands. There's no need to bring 5 tons of sausages from here down here. There's actually no reason whatsoever because it doesn't even have workers on this island. So he doesn't even need sausages down here. He might be preempting it, but right now he doesn't need it, and that's just a wasted trade route right there. So this trade route out here needs to be adjusted. The work clothes need to be produced locally and taken off. The bread, I would probably produce that locally. Scarsbag already has grain fertility. Go ahead and produce a little bit of your bread over here. You want Nickelby to be your main city and everything. You don't want to be trying to, use it as a processing area for other islands and everything else. Try to keep all those productions where they need to be, unless it's something you cannot produce locally for right now, until you, if you want to, have a production only island. The next trade route I saw a problem with is this one right here. I don't know what's going on with this trade route. This is all kinds of a no right here. We don't do this with trade routes from the new world to the old world. Yeah, especially in this order. This is a weird order. I don't know what's happening here with this. So we're going to just redo all this. You want to split this into 2 trade routes. Rum especially is so important that you don't want to skimp on that. Have one dedicated trade route for rum, and then do another one for your cotton fabric. Don't try to double them up. Just have a single route for it. Rum is way too important for this kind of mess. We've already talked about this trade route right here for work clothes from Nickelby to Kaz. Again, this trade route is absolutely unnecessary. And this trade route is semi-unnecessary, and I'll explain why in just a second. So things we saw in those trade routes was work clothes being kind of moved all over the place when that's really not necessary. Produce that stuff locally. Sausages being produced and sent to islands that don't need it. Again, produce that stuff locally as needed. Don't set up those trade routes like that. It's really not necessary this early in the game to do anything like that. Now the schnapps on Nickelby and everything is a little messed up right now because of the beer festival, which I just noticed when I closed out of the production tab. That's why it's showing that there is currently no demand for beer, because it's being supplied by that beer festival. So in 15 minutes, we'll get a better idea of what's happening with the schnapps and everything. So that's kind of where we're at with production. So that's where we're at with trade routes. So how would I go about fixing all of this? Well, for one thing, I would start producing things locally, like I've been saying. We're going to go and start making our work clothes where we need to be making work clothes and not shipping them around. We're going to make sausages where we need sausages being made and not move those around. And now for schnapps, we're actually going to take one place and make it our schnapps island. I think, what was it? Not Skarsborg. No, it was Prattlewell. Yeah. We're going to make Prattlewell Schnapps Central. All of our schnapps is going to be made here, and we're going to use this island to move it around and everything. Other things I think we ought to do is move a lot of this farm and all this industry. It's taking up a lot of valuable room. It really ought to be moved over here to the edge of the island. And then we want all of the industry actually moved over here. The reason being is that once we have electricity going, we want to be able to use a single power plant, one power plant, to both supply our residential engineers with power and our industry at the same time from one power plant. That's kind of the goal in the early game. You can only really get the one, so you might as well make the best use of that one power plant. So with the magic of video editing, let's jump forward and let's see what this old world looks like after I have gone through and done a few adjustments to it. All right, after about an hour's worth of work, this is what we've got going on now. So we have upgraded all the way through engineers, and we do have everything unlocked except for the bank. We are at 1755 engineers. 1750 is needed for the light bulbs, so we have just barely surpassed the number of engineers needed. Why do I do that? Well, it gives me a nice buffer of income to start producing the things that we're going to need in the engineer phase. The reinforced concrete can get rather expensive to start going down through, as well as getting your electricity up and running. When you get to engineers, that's kind of the first two things that you need to be focusing on is getting your oil power up and running and your concrete running, and then your oil power. That way you can start powering up your factories and start shutting down excess that you don't need to start saving on income before you move into the rest of it. So I have rearranged the island a little bit. We've moved all of the farms over here. This is where our farms for our bakeries and stuff are right now. I am using my own personal stamps for all of this right here. These stamps are all available on my Discord if you're interested in them. So I have stamps over here. I did blueprint some of this that I'm not needing currently, but it's there and ready to be upgraded when it is needed. We also have all of our sheep farms right there. All of the factories that were right here, except for these two brick factories, have all been moved over here onto this part of the island. Now, I know it's ugly, it's not pretty, but it is temporary. I have blueprinted down an oil power plant, and I've used these little elm trees right here just to dictate, this is where that train track is going to go. What I think the player should do is this. We're going to kind of find how many I can cover max. This is looks like I can cover 4 of them right here. Yeah, go ahead and settle. We don't care. So we're going to put that oil power plant right there. And then we're going to drag that rail down this way. He's just got a lot of random tree ornaments everywhere for some reason, and we got to get rid of them all. We got to have some room here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We got plenty of money. I'm not worried about that. Okay, I do have excess of fishing harbors. So what we want to do is this. We're going to take that fishing harbor. We're going to take that one out. I don't need that one. And this right here is where our small oil harbor is going to go. Oh, well. What are you mad about? Oh, right. These guys are in the way. That's fine. We can just move those over there. I did throw down a couple of piers. It was getting a little congested around here, and it needed to be adjusted some. There we go. And once it's all built, of course, you have to, link it up and everything. But there we go. That'll do. There we go. And that's where the train will go. The train will go there, up to there, and go here and connect in and deliver power. Now, this power is going to cover a decent enough section of the city to get him up through investors and everything, and have plenty of investors right here. And then later on, probably come over here and build another power plant and extend the city over into this blank space right here. Another power plant kind of situated in the middle to cover a lot of houses right there. And then his industry can be right over here. It's all going to be reached by power. So we're not going to have any trouble right there. And once it's powered up, you can just pause the production on all of these different factories right here and get that taken care of and save some cash and everything. So that's kind of the situation on Nickleby, and I'm really, really happy with how this right here has turned out. He does have a docklands up here, and he is importing soap, which I have continued. I have upped that a little bit because I am giving soap to the engineers as a lifestyle need right here. So we are importing soap and starting those imports over there. Other than that, I think Nickleby is in a pretty decent space. We got 520 attractiveness. They're reasonably happy. They'll be even happier when the engineers have some of their happiness needs fulfilled, but none of them are at the moment, but it's fine. We still have a decent amount of workforce that could be upgraded into artisans and on into engineers as well. And if we take a look at our productions right here, you'll see that we are pretty good on everything that we're producing. Pretty happy with how it's all going. Yeah, everything looks good to continue upgrading Nickleby and getting all of that done. Down here on Prattlewell, again, this is where all of our schnapps are at now. I've taken them out from this area up here, and I've moved all of the schnapps right down here. Again, using some of my stamps and everything, and blueprinting what I don't currently need. So that's where all the schnapps is at. And he had a lot of extra work clothes over here because he was moving work clothes around a little bit. I've just reduced that down to 2 framework knitters and a couple of sheep farms. Put down a couple of sawmills. Sawmills are super cheap. There's no reason whatsoever that every island shouldn't have a couple of sawmills, so they have their own supply of timber and everything. And this is also where all of his fur is coming at for his fur dealers over here on Nickelby. I didn't do a whole lot in Scarsburg right here, as you can see. There's not much that I've done here. It just needs a few more workers. There we go. Perfect. Again, he does have all this soap that he's doing right here. I would probably get rid of about half of this and just, you know, maybe do like maybe 3 or 4 soap instead of all of this. This is a little bit outrageous, but if this is how he's wanting to make money, that's fine. It could be condensed quite a bit more. Again, I do have some stamps that are really handy for that. I think it's under that. It's right here. Yeah. Single soap. Soap needs silos. So this right here is 4 soap. That's 8 soap right here. Okay, so that's 8 soap. And see how big that is for 8 soap? We take a look at my version of it. If I can find it again. Yeah, see. It's about half the size for the same amount of factories and production for half the space. So a lot of wasted space right here. So definitely recommend using stamps, or if you're just really good at doing layouts, doing tight, compact layouts and everything. That way you save all of this space, because that's a lot of wasted space right there. Could definitely be a whole lot better. But anyways, I just have to do a little bit more beer production over here to send over to his main island. The only thing I don't think I have going on for these guys at the moment. No, he does have everything. So we do have bread, which is another weird one because he was bringing over like 5 tons of bread per minute from Nickelby to Scarsburg. And I don't know why, because he's already producing bread here. So all of this right here is fine. Scarsburg's fine. Prattlewell's fine. Nickelby is fine. He does have like some small stuff. Oh, yeah. And then there's Kaz over here, which, you know, it is what it is. So that is all good. So let's take a look at our trade route situation real quick and how I've cleaned that up some. So first thing is I categorized everything. Categories are really, really cool. Be sure to create new groups and then put them and then label those groups what they are. So what are we doing? We are buying coffee from Madame Kahina and bringing that over. You get a 20 coin profit for supplying this, and we currently only need 3 tons per minute. So we're making a huge profit from buying that coffee from Madame Kahina and bringing it over and not having to produce that in the New World right now. The soap being sold to Eli, and I'm also now buying steel beams and bricks from Archie. We're making a lot of money right now. There's no reason to have a steelworks production. We can just buy that from him, and it's going to be enough steel for a little while. Eventually, maybe later on, might build some more steelworks. He did have one, but it eats up a lot of workforce, and until you have that power and stuff going, I just don't really do steelworks until you have power. That way you can power that and the furnace up and really start churning that stuff out. So buying steel beams and bricks to help supplement everything on the island here. I do have a circular route. Now this is our schnapps. So our schnapps is being produced in Prattlewell. It's being dropped off in Scarsburg, and then it's being picked back up in Scarsburg, and then dropped off in Nickelby. Now, this trade route right here will work perfectly fine. But if you take a look, you'll see that I've got 28 on, or 30 rather now, on Prattlewell. Basically none on Scarsburg, and then a ton of it on Nickelby. Now that is because this is a mistake a lot of new players do. They do these circular routes, but what they're not doing is setting an appropriate minimum stock, okay? So what we want to do is, what we can do with this right here is take a look at our storage, trade routes, schnapps, okay? 2 minutes, 6 minutes, 11 minutes, 14, 18, 20. So an average of 5 minutes in between. Okay, it's an average of 5 minutes in between when he is visiting this port. We take a look right here. We have 8. We're consuming 8 tons per minute. So what is 8 times 5? Well, 8 times 5 is 40. You had a minimum stock here of like 25. We're going to set that to 45. Okay, that gives us a little bit of extra. So now the trade route will only pick up everything over 45 that it's bringing back. You remember how he had those trade routes like taking 5 or 10, but he also had minimum stock set. There's no need for that. Set the minimum stock and then just have your trade routes pick up the maximum amount, and then they'll pick up everything over the minimum stock. So it's a much better way of doing it. So now that that has been fixed, this trade route will work perfectly fine, and we will not run out of schnapps on any of those islands anymore, and it should be perfectly fine. And so that circular trade route is going to work perfectly fine now for supplying all of those islands with schnapps. And then Nickelby, of course, I have adjusted this trade route right here. It is only now bringing everything for the artisanal kitchens. They have our beer trade route right here, picking up and dropping off beer. The cotton fabric, now this is the New World route. This is bringing the cotton fabric. We have our fur trade route. And then we have a rum trade route, picking up rum from multiple places and bringing it all back. And I do have 2 ships on that route just because rum is super important. Alternatively, you could also buy rum from Madame Kahina for the low price of 150. So, trade routes, I think, are all fixed up. They are all cleaned up. Everything is working as it should. Our income is now fairly stable. I see it fluctuating just a touch. We didn't really touch on the New World much, but he does have the New World, of course, unlocked. The only thing I would say about the New World for this particular save is he's focusing too much on all these small islands and building up all of these smaller islands and everything. Focus on Manola. Go ahead and get Manola set up. It's kind of like your Crown Falls in this region, and you're already here with it. Go ahead and start building up your big city over here and use all the other islands as support islands for Manola. And that's pretty much what you need to focus on in the New World. And that's it, guys. That's how I would go about fixing this save. We've got our income stabilized. We have our trade routes fixed. This player is ready to move ahead with their engineer phase of the game and see where they can take it from here. Thanks so much for watching. And again, if you have a save you would like for me to help you out with, be sure to get in touch with me on Discord, and I will be happy to take a look. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Until then, happy gaming.